All right, so welcome to part 2 of our series on showing you how to build a custom chatbot for your PDF file. In the very first part of this series, I showed you how to get a node server up and running that allows you to sort of load up a PDF file and chat with the PDF file. I have that in quotation marks because it was a very terrible user experience. In this video, we now have a fully functional user interface for your chatbot where all of the history and all of the chat history is retained and you can have a much more pleasant experience with your chatbot. Without wasting much of your time, let's get right into it. I'm going to show you the demo and then we go right into the code. All right, so as you can see here, this is the user interface we currently have going on. Right here, we have an input field where you can input the link of any PDF file that exists on the internet. It'll download the PDF file, send it into our vector store, send it into our local database, and then we can have a conversation with our PDF file. I currently have a PDF file loaded into my vector store, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to show you what it looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this paper from OpenAI. It's a GPT, an early look into the labor market. So I'm going to get the link and come here and paste that. So while it's loading and it's trying to, upload the file, download the file, upload it and store it into our vector store, we have this going on. If we come to our code, I should add more custom, right? So it's loaded, it's added, and it's done. So it's been added and now we can close this because we've already added our PDF file. And again, if you want to submit a new PDF file, you click on this, and if you're done, you close that. So we can just ask it, this working paper examines the potential impact of LLMs. So this is a summary of obviously this paper, and it's a rather short summary of this lengthy material. However, it is fairly accurate, and we can ask it more interesting things like, what does the introduction say? Let's see. And it says I don't know the answer. Of course, it's hallucinating. Let's see what could be a more interesting question to ask. Right, so we asked what's the literature review. The literature review is a section of the working paper that discusses prior research and studies related to the large language models, and that is here. It goes over it and it summarizes it. And yeah, as time goes on, I'm going to refine this LLM so it gives us more precise answers and it doesn't hallucinate and it doesn't go out of pocket. But essentially, this is what we have going on. We have an interface that works and we can build from there. The code is going to be on GitHub, and if you want to support, if you want to contribute, please feel free to do that. So right now, let's go right into the code and I'm going to show you all of the workings. So what we're working with is a Next.js app and then our node server. We have everything running on a single, let me make this bigger. So we have everything running on a single folder. So right here, we have our client and then we have our server. Our server is simply an app.js file, and the app.js is the exact same. It's pretty much the exact same thing we had going on the part 1 of this series, except a few tweaks and refinement. Again, the link to this repository will be on GitHub, so you can compare and contrast and fix a couple things if you are so inclined. And all of this doc store, the index, and these PDF files, those are basically, the index is the vector store and the doc store is the JSON representation of the vector store. And these are basically the PDF files that I have worked with to query this large language model. So this is the Mind, Brains, and Programs. And this is the OpenAI ChatGPT version that we just went over. And this is a completely different PDF file. Essentially, when you put up a PDF file, it's going to download it locally and it's going to store it in this folder and then send that to your vector store. And that is how it sort of is able to create context and you're able to have a conversation with that. So we can go over the front end and I can just show you how that works real quick. All right, so for the front end, a lot of it is in a simple index.js file. And again, it's React Next.js. If you're very familiar with React and Next.js, a lot of this is consistent and there aren't that many things that are complex. So we have a loading screen for the chat and loading for the link. So that is essentially this while the LLM is thinking and generating answers. I'm sorry, I don't have enough information. Yeah, sometimes it hallucinates, even though there was a time it responded properly. So a lot of that will be fixed as time progresses. I will be updating the code and I'll be fixing things. So, please do not worry about that. And so, yeah, so we have all our states here, and again, everything is there. Now we have the function that handles the submission of the link. So essentially this that handles this. This is just the exact same thing we have that we would have done on our typical Node server, except we're doing it in our front end. This is a simple post request. We're taking the link, sending it to our server, and our server is doing everything we've instructed it to do in our app.js, which is take the link, download the link, check if it's a PDF file, download the PDF file. Once it's downloaded, it send it to the vector store. Once you've sent it to the vector store, console.log that this has been saved into the vector store, and then the user can proceed to query the information that is inside of the PDF file. We just simply have a couple things in the front end to make it intuitive. Like we're going to set, the server response. If we get an error, we're going to print that out. If the error is no, we set it no. Once that link has been sent, we're going to clear the input box so the link is inconsistent. We catch the error, we do a couple things, and once we've gotten a final result, we tell the loading link to stop. So essentially, once our file has been submitted, the loading link stops loading. And here is handle show form. So essentially, once I click on this submit new PDF file, it shows the form. And then once I click on close, it closes the form. So handle show form, handle close form, and those are the functions that do that. This is currently not being used and it will be taken out. And submit question function. So this is the function that handles this. Again, this is a post request to our server, the question route of our server. Essentially, this takes the question that we're going to ask, send it into our LLM. Our LLM takes that question. It goes into our vector store to look for the context, again, embedding, trying to figure out the most relevant material to the question that has been posed. And then it takes that and then it gives us back our response, and we take that response and we display that here. I would just have a few fancy things there, which is the emoji that represents the individual and the robot emoji that represents the AI given that response. And again, once we send in a post request here, we have the loading bar, which is thinking while the LLM is trying to figure out the answer. It says, I don't know the answer. Again, hallucination. GPT is imperfect, and there is no world that exists where it's going to give a 100% accurate answer. But with prompt engineering and engineering the prompt and getting it to understand context, we can get it to help us and simplify a lot of things. But that being said, we're focusing on the user interface and to be sure that it works and we're able to load up files and we're able to query that. I also do think it performs better on certain PDF files than others. If we were to come back to Minds, Brains, and Programs and I try to load that up. So it's done. Right, the names of this article. So I do think certain PDF files are structured in a way where the LLM is able to read and parse the data, and certain PDF files not so much. So we're going to, essentially figure that out, why that is the case, and ensure that it's able to get into every single part of the PDF file and is able to provide context and essentially help you find whatever information you're looking for. And so, yes, that is pretty much it. This is essentially everything we have going on. Again, this is focused on the front end. The back end is pretty much consistent with what we've done in part one. If you missed part one, please go check the video on part one. Again, the link to this will be in the description and you can go play with it. You can go, work with it and do whatever you want. Because again, it's slightly different from everything we have going on in part one, slightly, just ever so slightly, just so that because since we built the front end, we made certain improvements and we just needed to make those adjustments. And it's a completely different file, but everything will be in the GitHub repository, which will be in the description, and you can make reference to that. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Now you have a user interface that is really good looking, and updates will be done to the code. If you want to contribute, please feel free to do that. And you can have an actual conversation with your PDF file, and the LLM is going to help you and give you reasonable results. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with anyone who's enthusiastic about building front-end interfaces for their chatbot. And subscribe for more awesome videos like this, technical videos like this, ranging from Web3 to blockchain technology to zero knowledge proofs. And right now, we're curious and excited about artificial intelligence and large language models. So thank you for watching, and until next time, take it easy.